What's up, guys? This is Hyce, and welcome to the downstairs of the bachelor pad. It's not often you get to see film from down here, although we'll probably do something discussing the trains on the floor at some point. And you've seen a couple things over in the kitchen when sponsorships come around, but today is day one of our Build a World series. That's right. We announced the giveaway, announced the series, and then I had a bunch of travel and stuff, and it took me a minute to get this put together. And by put together, I mean the rig for filming. The kit is still very much in box and has not even been touched. So today, step one, we're gonna start with this. But of course, before we start that, I want to let everyone know, in case you missed the community posts, that Vinny from Australia won the kit, and he's going to be building alongside, and hopefully some of you others also saw the links and decided to join in for this build along series. And of course, a huge thank you to our sponsor Walthers, who sent the kits along and is also sponsoring these videos. They're a great supplier of all things model train and model railway, and I really like this new set of kits they've put out. I stared at the instructions once. We're going to be building some track, basically. Getting the track and ballasted and put down. That's step one here, so we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna open this up and see how it goes. I've literally not even opened the box, so this is very much going to be a build along. I was trying to think when the last time I did any proper model railroading was, and the answer is a long time ago. Glues and cements and things. My very own bag of granites. Tweezers and pipettes and some miniature trowels, probably for clearing the track or something. Sprue cutters. So, you know, I read that it said it was gonna come with all the tools, and then here I am being surprised at how many nice tools come in this kit. Several paints and things, more brushes. This is a whole suite of things. Some cark. It's down in the south, not up in the north. The cark. I'm gonna need a bigger table. The foam. Foam for trains. Ooh. Most jiggly of flex track. That's fun. The most recent flex track I've had has been stuff that really kinks and it doesn't jiggle, and this is just kind of fun. A saran wrapped foam. It's the knife of exact zero! Wow! Didn't make it in the recycle can. Expert plastic labor! It's German. Achtung! Briefly allows readjustment. Permanent adherence. Oh, this is ridiculous glue. Got it. I was trying to figure out what it was. Wow! That also didn't make it into the recycle. Yeah, I literally, hey, we got one! My recycling made it in. So this is quite the thing. Like, I know it said that it would come with tools, but, so I was thinking about it. The last time that I actually model railroaded would have been when I was about 13 or 14. I had a 4x8 layout made off of the Model Railroader template. It was in one of the Model Railroader magazines for the Cripple Creek Central. It was 4x8, had a crazy 6% grade up to a mine that I thought was the cool attraction. And it was Cripple Creek, so it was theoretically Colorado, and I've always loved Colorado even when I lived in Washington. And so that was the railroad I built, and I got the track all laid down, and I had one corner that was actually decently scenicked. But it was all snap track, and it wasn't really a proper layout, and we ended up fostering a lot of cats. And cats and model trains sometimes don't mix, sometimes they do. The layout got a little bit attacked by the cats, but the cats were very cute, so it was worth it. Anyways, let's see, what are we gonna do here? Okay, we're gonna prepare the ridge base. Use a ruler and a hobby knife, cut 3-inch wide strips from the 1-inch foam sheet. I'm gonna have to measure stuff? Uh-oh. Using a ruler? Got a measuring tape. I probably have a ruler. I probably have a square or something outside. Yeah, so it's gonna be a big backdrop ridge. So we gotta stack the 1-inch sheets really tall so that it's gonna be a whole thing, and then the scene will be down below it. As it turns out, I do not have a ruler. Because of course, why wouldn't I? I have, however, a crusty level that was the cheapest one that money could buy that we used to retile the bathroom at the house I owned in Seattle. It is the same length as the sheet here. And I have a measuring tape and I have a Sharpie, which means that we can figure this out. And if we're using a hobby knife to make this happen, it's probably not needing to be the most precise thing in the world anyway. It's probably not gonna be accurate, nor is it going to be precise. It's fine. All right, so we're gonna set this up. I'm gonna just put that over there. Just break that there. All right, 3-inch, 6-inch, 9-inch. Vaguely there'sville. I don't think utmost precision matters in this case because we're gonna stack these, they're gonna be sandwiched, and it looks like they get a rock wall that covers them. And recall, for you non-engineer types, that accuracy is being correct and precision is a tight grouping or a tightness together. So you can be really precise but totally miss. So I think I vaguely accurately got 3-inch markers on these. And I guess we will just now attempt to not stab ourselves while we cut this with a hobby knife. And it is the knife of exact 0. Let's open it from the pointy end because we feel dangerous. And we want to not stab ourselves. And it's not very ergonomic to go away, and going towards, we might stab ourselves, so safety briefing. We're going to twist sideways, and we're gonna stand for this piece. Line up, vaguely on the center points of those markers, give a little trace with the hobby knife down this level here, which is nice and big. And I don't know if this stuff will snap. Okay, good, they drew lines all the way down and then just traced the lines. And try to not score my brand new IKEA table here. Oh, maybe having a line would be better because I'm not following this well. Oh, it kind of wants to snap. Okay, well we've made one. That's our mulligan. We're gonna use the level and we're gonna draw a line all the way, and then we're not going to hold the foam on the table. And then we're going to trace the line with the knife and knife all the way through. Nick, of course, is also building his kit. And he is much more a veteran of this sort of thing than I am. It's now got racing stripes. It's gonna go much faster now. X-Acto knife cam. Whoa. Did I go all the way through? Almost. I didn't really go all the way through it. I cut the piece. It looks better than the other side. So you know what, we'll take that. Pow. And third time, yeah, it did basically the same thing. And now I've got a big piece of foam. The 4014 just rolled by and they dropped this off. All right. Not even close. Okay, apply white glue to the bottom of the foam strips, then spread the glue with one of the supplied foam brushes. Stack 3 of the foam strips atop the 2-inch foam base. 3 of them, we've got 4. So we'll stack 3 of them. So we've got our speed bond, which just opens like that. There's no, does it have a thingy? No, it doesn't. Don't drink the glue. Don't get the glue on you. I'm speed bonding my own palm. Foam brush, foam. Oh, that's gonna make quite the big backdrop. I guess I'll probably do like 2 little racing stripes all the way down and then just brush it on. Get like a relatively even layer all the way across. Oh yeah, okay. And that foam brush is spreading it pretty nice. So I've got a pretty good layer. It said allow time to dry. It is speed bond, but I don't know how much time is that. I am speed. It said to do the backs of one, but I'm gonna do the tops. Shh. Oops, the glue farted. Let me know in the comments if this is an acceptable amount of glue. Like, I have no idea. Oh, and that's drifted a bit. I've glued my fingers again. I'm really excited for the rest of the 3/4 show to watch this, specifically Leighton. Oh no, I forgot glue on me instructions. Yeah, I'm really excited for them to watch it because they're much more seasoned than I, and Leighton has been trying to get us to build modules forever. That'll be a whole series, by the way, coming up. Is we're gonna be doing modules, and we're gonna be building the Hyce branch in Fremo. So we're gonna have an HO scale Fremo module set up that we're gonna take to train shows with the Pike Masters Railroad Club. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we'll put this top piece on. That looks like a wall, and you can see where I glued my instructions. Did that make it better or worse? I at least can read it now. Allow it to dry. What does it say on the bottle? It says if you get it, don't get it, eyes, wash for 10 minutes, stay in contact. 5-minute white glue. Okay, so 5 minutes. That's not bad. I'm gonna grab a heavy book. The locomotive and the air brake, not because it's depressing, but because it's physically heavy. And I'm going to place it on top. And then it'll weigh it down and help sandwich things in so that the glue bonds properly. And I'm gonna want more because I can see that end is not doing the thing. More books. Oh, got an oil burner right here. We'll use that. There we are. That's not going anywhere. If you don't have an oil burner for a steam locomotive on your shelf, just find something heavy. It'll be good enough. Okay, it's been a little more than 5 minutes, and it seems that doing the glue thing, I'm not gonna pry up on it, but we'll continue on. I'll put my heavy things back on the bookshelf. Prepping cork roadbed. Prepping cork roadbed. We're cutting the cork. We're cutting it right there. I'm gonna delete the line. The one thing that I always find in cutting things, not just for model railroads, like just in general when you're cutting materials, is you measure in a certain way and then you cut in a certain way. So when I say delete the line, I measured and I put the line on the outside of the measurement. So this is my drop scrap piece. You can see that the line's there, and I was a little too proud of it. It'll probably be a little short, but the idea then is that when you place the cork on now, it actually is the length, because we measured a little past, marked the past, and then we got rid of that because we know it was off the edge. Some people like to put the line right center and then cut down the center of the line. Some people are also probably more precise than I am. So there we go. Ah! Earthquake! I knocked my track off. Okay, we have a defined center line because the cork is 2 halves actually, because it comes flat and then it's got ballasted edges that taper off like it's ballast. And then you split it and peel it, but we're not gonna do that yet. We're gonna put this guy on our ridge, and then if we use the edge of the, yeah, that'll actually be about centered because it's about half the width. So we're gonna center the track in this a little bit. So we'll just draw across with our Sharpie here while trying to keep some amount of downwards pressure on the cork so it doesn't bend too stupid far. And that line only looks like I've had 6 beers while doing it. Carefully pull the 2 halves of the roadbed apart of perforation. Each one has a square beveled edge. One of the beveled edges will have some crumbs of cork left over from the perforation. Use your hobby knife to scrape away the crumbs. You don't want cork crumbs on here. On the 7th day, he broke the roadbed. And they both kind of have little crummies. Make sure you clean up your work site when you're done working. It's applicable in model railroading and full-size railroading. If you're model railroading at your dining room table and your significant other and or mother and or father or whoever wants a clean house. So, you know, if your name's Hyce and you're living the bachelor life, you can leave a mess, but if you're not, best not to leave a mess. And so I'm trying to get these nubbins off the best I can. It's not an exact science, I don't think, and I don't think it needs to be an exact science because we're gonna ballast this. It's just to get the vague shape. I got most of the nubbins off. And you'll note that what I'm doing is I'm using the hobby knife and I am trying to hold the profile true, and I am running the blade away from me. Because if I run it towards me, the likelihood that my clumsy butt will accidentally stab myself with the hobby knife is significantly high. It's just a happy little railroad. We're Bob Rossing this. Big Bob Ross energy today. It's just a happy little model railroad. We've split the cork and we've cleaned it. We're just gonna run a nice bead of glue down this boy, because that's what the picture showed. It said to do it on either side of the center line, but I'm just gonna put it on the cork. That seems fine. Sandwich it down our center line best we can. And our bevel is on the outside, because that's the way ballast slopes. Another of white glue. Actually looks relatively decent. I'm going to go get my heavy things and place them atop this. And I'm going to let dry for several hours and or overnight. And we'll see you back shortly. It has been several hours. Not overnight, as you can see, because I'm still wearing my Hellbot t-shirt and the lighting has changed. But I looked at the instructions and we can see that the next step is to lay track. And then it also says to let it dry for several hours or overnight. And video production waits for no one. So we've let it wait for several hours, so we're going to take our heavy things, our oil burner and our copy of the locomotive and the air brake off, and we're gonna see about the next step here. We have our 3 layers of cake, our cork, once again, the speed bond. Assume that it needs to be a fairly good glob, just like that. Spread that a little bit, give it some loving. And it seems like if you use the angle of the brush, these brushes are angled, it carries it up the brush and then you end up with a bunch. So it's seeming like you want to hold enough pressure on the brush that it evenly aligns everything. And that seems to do the thing. All right, so we've got glue and now track. Beautiful. Something about putting track on this just made it 1,000,000% more railroady, and I'm here for it. I guess technically it was just foam and cork, and it wasn't really railroady at all. But now it is. I'm pressing it in by hand just to start it. Once again, our oil burner and a heavy book. We shall once again leave this overnight and over several hours. Though I have a feeling that this time it'll be overnight. So, see you tomorrow. All right, as you can see by once again different lighting, different hair, and different shirt, it has in fact been overnight this time. And we can see that there is now track. If I Australian it, it doesn't fall off. That's a good thing. The glue has glued, you know, vaguely on the shoulder. It's fine. And we're gonna spread it out with the brush, so I probably don't need a super thick one. And we'll just make a happy little pile of glue on the side of this ballast. There we go. Try not to get the glue on the track itself, because that would probably impede trains from doing train things. If I was a betting man. I actually want this, it's neat that they mention that it's crushed stone, because that's actually what the railroad uses. And I'm not sure how to sprinkle this without getting it literally everywhere. I guess we're just gonna get it literally everywhere and then get a little ballast, try to, again, just focus on the glue, and if it goes other places, it goes other places. This actually kind of looks really good already, like even with bits of the cork still showing through. The cork is kind of colored variously, like it's a ballast almost already, so. Yeah, make sure you clean up your mess when you do this at your house. Somebody will care about it. There's no one else here with me, so I can make as big of a mess as I want. Pile it up on the outside of the rail, it's fine. It's not gonna be a problem, is it? Yeah, real trains are big and heavy and they will push ballast out of the way. Model trains are not big or heavy. That looks like ballast on my finger that I've glued to myself. Nailed it. Get a little glue on the outside here. We're just gonna do the thing. We're just gonna make it happen. And just paint the little glue. Well, that glue did some weird stuff. It kind of globbed. I'll have to send MOW out to deal with the ballast here. The giant glob of glue on the track. Oops. You know what, we'll just move the globby, ballasty glue ball. Oh, that's all that is just ballast and glue mixed. And now it's all over my fingers. Yeah, we'll even it out with the other clean brush, I think. Afterwards. I think that's good. That's a top tip, because this is a bit of a mess. Remember what we were saying about accuracy and precision earlier? Yeah. Okay, there we go. And we'll grab our fresh brush out of the other bag here and just kind of try and even it up a little bit, clean it out. Looked like MOW actually came and dressed the track. It's a whole thing. They call it surfacing on the railroad. After you go through and you reballast and you tamp, you go through and you surface the track, where you dress it out and you make it look pretty and even. Lets the train crew know that the MOW folks have been by recently. Nice and clean and pretty and fresh. Just kind of show the tops of the ties the best I can, because that's the thing. The whole point of ballast for real is to support the tie and hold the tie in place. and wedge the ties against each other too. Because if you only had ballast underneath the ties would be able to move really easily, and you don't want that. You want the ties to stay in place. So don't get a big, dried up, partially dry glob of glue on your railroad, and you'll probably be fine. But that's okay. This is my first time model railroading in about 15 years. The mistakes, they happen, and that's okay. The front side looks nice. The back side, I didn't cut the cork well enough. So make sure you do that. Apparently it's important. We're gonna baggie this. We'll just pour it in there. Oh god, yeah, we've got plenty of ballast. So I'm just gonna apply more than I need, and then we'll just brush it off. And we gotta make sure the flangeways are clear, that's for sure. Brush a little ballast around, but that really adds an extra layer of thing here. Okay, pouring a lot of ballast may have been a mistake. Remember, this is an instructional, this is professional. I know what I'm doing, 1000%. Having a tough time just making sure that the track's like cleaned off and then keeping the ballast there, but I don't know, that looks pretty nice. Could always come through and add a little bit more once I do some scenery. That's dressed out, so now we need to apply the cement, I think, here. We're learning how to pipette with Walthers today. Oh, it's got sealed for reasons. It's doing a science. It's evidently made a layer or something and then just was released, and then it's made done a thing. And then fill up that. There we go. Got some scenery cement in there. Oh yeah, that just drops right in there. I'm just gonna try it. I feel very scientific when I use a pipette. This is like chemistry class, literally all over again. And it flows really nicely. You sit there and you just pipe little drops in and it just kind of runs everywhere it needs to go. I'm gonna have to fill the pipette one more time though, I think. This is really cool stuff. Matte medium transparent scenery cement. I've never used this stuff before. I don't remember what I did. I ballasted a short piece of track on my 4x8 when I was a kid. I remember it just used sectional track, but it was amazing how much the sound changed of the trains when I ballasted it. It really made it a really nice dampening effect, and it made it sound a lot nicer, I thought. And so I did do ballasting, but I'm not sure what I used. I might have just used the spray cement, I'm not sure, but this is like precision. This is nice stuff. I'm really impressed with this kit that Walthers put together. I mean, it's all of the tools and all the things, a genuinely great setup. I'm honestly shocked and impressed. I mean, I knew that it came with tools and everything, and it came with some stuff, but like, this is really the stuff that you need. And you can kind of see where you've been because the ballast changes the color a little bit. It's a little darker where it's wet, so I can see where I need to apply a little bit more. This is really simple. Like, this is easy. Anyone can do this. This is super, like, I'm having fun with it. And I'm really excited to see what it turns into. Getting more of the scenery done. Because that's what really brings a railroad together. Well, there it is. Taking a look at our ballast, and yeah, it's a little high in a couple places. For my first ballast job on a model in 15 years, I think I'll take it. Obviously, I've done a fair amount of ballast work on the real thing at this point with the track gang. That's always fun, but you know, I'm pretty pleased with that. That's looking really nice.
And now it's time for What Did Nick Do?
All right, so here we are after month 1, and I imagine that the result is pretty similar to what Hyce has been doing. I actually haven't seen what he's done as of recording this, but this is what my wife and I came up with. We've been working on this together as a fun sort of bonding project. There's 2 notable differences that I want to point out in our approach for how we put the ballast down and laid the track. The first is with the track. You'll notice that when you get a new piece of track, doesn't matter what manufacturer, even what scale, you've got the very, very shiny rails, the top of the rails and the sides. Now the tops have to remain shiny if you're going to run trains over them for electrical connectivity. The sides, however, you can weather. You have a few options as to how you would do this. I've seen some people use airbrushing. You could just use a paint and brush that you get at your local hobby shop or fabric store or wherever you get your cheap little craft paints, and that'd be one way to do it. What I ended up using, because I was trying to finish up the end of it, are these Woodland Scenics track painters. So this is something that you can get from your hobby store. It has paint inside this tube, and so you sort of dab it and then run it along the sides of the rail, and then there's one for the tops of the ties. The rail one I find sticks on the sides a little bit, but the tie one is a lot easier to use. Number of tools you can use for painting, but it adds that little bit of realism, and it doesn't take that much extra time to do it. The second tool that I used that I had already in my collection was for ballasting. Now you can, as the directions suggest, just use a spoon or some other means of pouring the ballast in. You'll see from the time lapse that I have this film canister that I just used to store the ballast in and pour it along the way. This is a favorite tool of mine for ballasting track though. It was 3D printed by a friend of mine, and we'll see if we can put a link in the description of this video as to where you can get it. This just runs right along the rail and drops just the right amount of ballast so that you have a nice clean result and you don't have too much ballast that you have to push on down the track further. Those are a couple of tools that I had on hand that I used for this. It's been fun so far. I'm very curious to see what month 2 brings for the build. Are we gonna be painting the white styrofoam into different base earth colors? I don't know what to expect, but I'm looking forward to finding out. I also look forward to seeing those of you who are building this along with us, what your results are in Discord. Back to you, Hyce.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this series so far. Hope you enjoyed the video. And next time we'll get into a little bit more and get into kit number 2. But this was kit number 1 from start to finish. Hope you guys enjoyed and hope you liked looking at the unprofessional, unprecise Hyce putting things together. And hopefully you liked seeing what Nick did as well. So thanks for watching and thanks for building alongside.